It's late in the evening. The emergency department is busy. Monitors are beeping, stretchers are moving, voices overlap in the background. And then a man walks in, slowly, holding his chest, not collapsing, not screaming, just uncomfortable. He says it's probably acidity, maybe something he ate, a burning feeling. He's had it before. You look at him, he's sweating, more than he should be. His shirt is damp, his face is pale. There's a subtle anxiety in his eyes. The kind patients don't always say out loud, but you can see it. You don't argue, you don't wait, you order an ECG. The machine starts printing, and for a moment, everything feels routine. But then you look at the tracing and something catches your eye. It's subtle, almost too subtle. A slight elevation, a small shift. Something that could easily be ignored. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. This is not just chest pain. This is not just acidity. This is not something you wait and watch. This is a STEMI. And at this moment, the clock has already started. STEMI. ST elevation. Myocardial infarction. A condition where a coronary artery is suddenly and completely blocked. Inside the heart, a silent catastrophe is unfolding. Let's go deeper. For years, the process has been building, quietly, silently. Atherosclerosis, plaque formation, the artery slowly narrows, but the body adapts. Collateral circulation develops. Symptoms may not appear. The patient lives normally, works, eats, sleeps, until one day, without warning, everything changes. Plaque ruptures. Not gradually, not predictably, suddenly. The inner contents of the plaque are exposed, and the body reacts instantly. Platelets rush in, clotting begins, a thrombus forms, and within minutes, the artery becomes completely occluded. This is myocardial infarction. But here's the critical part. The damage doesn't happen all at once. It spreads like a wave from the inner layer of the heart outward. The longer the artery remains blocked, the more muscle is lost. And this is why STEMI is not just a diagnosis. It's a race between time and irreversible damage. Now, come back to the ECG. Because the ECG is your first real clue. What you saw earlier, that subtle elevation. That was the beginning. The ST segment. Normally it sits flat, quiet, neutral, but in STEMI, it rises. Why? Because injured myocardial cells behave differently. They alter electrical currents. They create what we call an injury current. And that shifts the ST segment upward. This is not random. This is not incidental. This is the heart telling you, I am not getting blood. But here's where many people fail. They wait for dramatic changes, obvious elevation, clear textbook patterns. But early STEMI doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it whispers. You might only see a slight ST elevation, a bulky hyperacute T wave, a minimal change that doesn't look dangerous. And if you miss it here, you miss your best chance to intervene early, because as time passes, the ECG evolves. The ST elevation becomes more pronounced. The shape becomes more convex, more obvious. Then Q waves may appear. And Q waves mean something serious. They represent dead myocardium. At that point, the damage is no longer reversible, and that's the difference. Early STEMI, muscle can still be saved. Late STEMI, muscle is already lost. So the goal is simple. Recognize it early. Act immediately. Now let's talk about something even more important, because not every STEMI patient looks like a textbook case. In fact, many don't. Yes, classic symptoms include crushing chest pain, radiation to the left arm, sweating, nausea. But reality is different. Some patients only feel shortness of breath, fatigue, mild discomfort. Some feel pain in the jaw, or the back, or the epigastrium. And some, especially diabetics and elderly patients, feel almost nothing. No pain, no warning. Just a silent progression toward myocardial death. Now let's go one step further. Because STEMI is not just about recognizing ST elevation. It's about understanding territory. Each lead on the ECG looks at a specific part of the heart, And when you see ST elevation in certain leads, you can localize the infarction. Leads 2, 3, and a VF, inferior wall. Leads V1 to V4, anterior wall. Leads 1, AVL, V5, and V6, lateral wall. Horizontal ST depression in leads V2 to V4, posterior wall. Each pattern tells you something, not just about location, but about which artery is blocked. And that matters, because different arteries mean different risks, different complications, different urgency. For example, an anterior STEMI often involves the left anterior descending artery, and this artery supplies a large portion of the heart. Block it, and the consequences can be massive. High risk of heart failure, cardiogenic shock, serious arrhythmias, while an inferior STEMI may present differently. Sometimes with bradycardia, sometimes with hypotension. Now come back to that patient, still sweating, still uncomfortable. But now, you know something he doesn't. His ECG is not normal. This is not acidity. This is not something that will pass. This is a ticking clock. And what you do next will decide how much of his heart survives. So the question is, how do you confirm this is truly a STEMI? Because not every ST elevation is dangerous. And not every dangerous ECG looks obvious. Because one of the biggest mistakes in cardiology is confusing STEMI with other causes of ST elevation. Let's go through them. First, pericarditis. In pericarditis, the ST elevation is usually diffuse, seen across many leads, not confined to a single territory, and instead of a convex tombstone shape. The ST segment is often concave. You may also see PR depression, a subtle but important clue. Second, early repolarization. Common in young, healthy individuals. Here, ST elevation is benign, stable, and often seen in the precordial leads. But there are no symptoms, no dynamic changes, no progression. Third, left ventricular aneurysm. This is a late complication of a previous MI. The ST elevation is persistent, unchanged over time, and often accompanied by deep Q waves. Now here's the danger. If you mistake STEMI for these conditions, you delay treatment, but if you mistake these conditions for STEMI, you may expose the patient to unnecessary risks. So always ask yourself, does the ECG match the clinical picture? Because in STEMI, the story fits. Chest pain, sweating, acute onset, dynamic ECG changes. Everything aligns. Now comes the most important part of all, treatment. Because once you've recognized STEMI, there's only one goal: reopen the artery as fast as possible. Time is muscle. Every minute of delay means more heart muscle lost. So what do? The gold standard is primary percutaneous coronary intervention, PCI. A catheter is inserted, advanced into the coronary artery. The blockage is identified. A balloon is inflated, and a stent is placed. Blood flow is restored. This is the best treatment, but it must be done quickly. Door to balloon time should be less than 90 minutes, because beyond that, outcomes worsen. But what if PCI is not available? Then you don't wait. You give thrombolytics, medications that dissolve the clot, restore blood flow, and buy time. Now let's talk about medications, because STEMI management is not just about opening the artery. It's about stabilizing the patient, preventing further damage, and reducing complications. The moment you suspect STEMI, you give aspirin, it inhibits platelet aggregation. Then comes dual antiplatelet therapy and anticoagulants to prevent further thrombus formation. Pain control is important too. Oxygen, if the patient is hypoxic. Every step has a purpose. Every intervention has a goal. Now let's talk about what can go wrong. Because STEMI is unpredictable. Even after treatment, complications can occur. Arrhythmias are common. Ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation. These can be fatal within seconds. Then there's heart failure. When too much myocardium is lost, The heart cannot pump effectively. Cardiogenic shock may develop, low blood pressure, multi-organ failure. And then there are mechanical complications. Papillary muscle rupture, leading to acute mitral regurgitation. Ventricular septal rupture. These are catastrophic and often sudden. This is why continuous monitoring is critical, even after successful reperfusion. Now let's bring this back to the patient. He came in with acidity, but you recognized the ECG. You didn't ignore the subtle signs. You acted. The cath lab was activated, the artery was opened, blood flow was restored, and because of that, his heart muscle was saved. This is the power of recognition, because the ECG is not just lines on paper. It's a warning, a message, a chance to intervene before it's too late. So let's summarize everything. STEMI is caused by complete coronary artery occlusion. It presents with ST elevation in contiguous leads, but it may be subtle early on. Diagnosis requires pattern recognition, not just measurement. Treatment is urgent reperfusion, PCI if available, thrombolysis if not. And every minute matters, because in STEMI, time is muscle, and muscle is life. If you found this explanation helpful, make sure to like the video and leave a comment below. Tell us which ECG topic you want next. We have a whole series of ECG interpretations, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a future upload. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.